Good evening, and thank you for tuning in to Midnight Monologues, hosted by Don Mateo, where we read you short bedtime stories to help you wind down for the night. Tonight's story: The Gentleman Ghost. Julian was the kind of man who didn't just walk into a room, he adjusted the temperature of it. He was in all charcoal wool coats, the faint scent of sandalwood, and a smile that suggested he knew exactly which vintage of wine you'd prefer before you even looked at a menu. For Sarah, the date was flawless. They had a dine at a rooftop bistro where the city lights looked like fallen stars. He had listened, really listened, as she talked about her failed gallery opening. When he dropped her off at her door, he kissed her knuckles, promised to call, and then nothing. She checked her phone for 3 days, no text, no digital footprint. When she tried to find the bistro on Google Maps, the pin dropped onto a vacant lot that had been empty for years. Sarah wasn't alone. In yoga studios, an office break room across the city, the story was becoming a local legend. The Gentleman Ghost. Always a perfect high-end location, jazz club that didn't have a website, rose gardens that bloomed in December. Julian, he was attentive, wealthy, and seemingly without a single flaw. A lingering promise of tomorrow, followed by a total vanishing act. The women weren't just heartbroken, they were confused. There were no credit card trails, no Uber receipts, no grainy selfies, just nothing. The truth came out during a chance meeting between Sarah and a woman named Elena at a coffee shop. As Elena described her ghost, Sarah felt a chill. Wait, Sarah interrupted. Did he have a small scar shaped like a crescent moon on his left temple? Elena went pale. Yes, and he told me I was the only person who truly understood his poetry. Girl, he told me the same thing, Sarah whispered. But Elena, I went back to the restaurant. It isn't there. It's a construction site. They began to compare notes with others online. The realization didn't come from a detective or a database, but from a shared, haunting detail. None of them could remember the sound of Julian's footsteps. Julian wasn't a man who was ghosting women. He was ghosting of the mind. He was a sophisticated psychic projection, a tulpa, created by the collective longing of thousands of lonely, overextended women who just wanted one night where the wine was perfect and the conversation didn't feel like an interview. Every date occurred in the realm cycle between 3 a.m. and 4 a.m. The reason he never called for simple, he didn't exist in the daylight. He was a beautiful, reoccurring glitch in the city's subconsciousness. He was the perfect man, and because he was perfect, he had to be a dream. The women weren't being dumped, they were just waking up. Years later, the legend of Julian became quiet and a comfort rather than a haunting. Women began to recognize the signs, the scent of the sandalwood in the room with no candles, or the sudden perfect taste of wine they hadn't ordered. And they would simply smile, knowing a beautiful dream was about to begin. They stopped checking their phones for texts, realizing that his silence wasn't a rejection, but the sound of the sun rising. Julian remained internal, a masterpiece of the mind who never aged and never disappointed, existing only in that fleeting heartbeat between a deep sleep and the morning light. Thank you for listening. If you are still awake, be sure to tune into our next short stories. Good night. This is Don Mateo. Midnight Monologue.